Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. And action!
Hello everyone, we are Elisa and Jason with EECC Travels, and we just came off Carnival's newest ship, the Carnival Venezia. So this ship was not just built for Carnival. This was built for Costa, which is the Italian brand of Carnival Corporation. And they have decided to move 3 of the ships from Costa to Carnival Cruise Lines, and this being the second. So we were there for the launch party in New York and the first U.S. sailing.
Pretty cool.
So what we're going to do in this video is go through our likes and dislikes of this ship.
Yeah.
Overall, we're not going to get into details, but overall, did you like the ship?
Yes, I did. I did like the ship. I like Carnival. Carnival's got a piece of my heart. It just feels like home. It's been over a year since we've been on a Carnival ship. So it was nice to be back on one. Reminded me why they call it the fun ship. But this was like the fun ship with flair.
It was.
Very nice. It was nice to be back in New York City, and my gosh, sailing away from Manhattan and seeing that skyline of New York City is just probably one of the most beautiful sailaways we've ever had.
It absolutely is. So that goes into our first topic, was the Port of New York, because right now Venezia is sailing out of New York. So like Jason said, the views, oh my God, sailing out of New York is like no other city.
Okay, but before we got there, we had the inaugural. We were able to get on the ship. We met Jay Leno. He did a little private comedy show, if you will, on the main stage in the theater. They had the punchliner as the backdrop there, and it was really cool. And I didn't realize this, but way back in the early days, in the beginning of Carnival, he actually performed on one of their ships. From what I've been told. Cool. Not real sure if that's 100% accurate, but we were told that.
We were.
Anyway, that was really neat. Got to meet a lot of cool people. And then, boom, we boarded the ship.
Yeah. So
it was just absolutely beautiful.
As far as the Port of New York goes, what do you think about that port? Do you like sailing out of New York?
Yes and no. It's beautiful sailing away from New York, but getting into New York, getting to your hotel, getting to the ship, it's a bit of a hustle and bustle, and it's very expensive.
Yes. So we flew into JFK Airport, and we were staying in Midtown Manhattan because we were cruising out of the Manhattan Cruise Terminal. It's about $100 each way. And that's using Uber. Yes, you can use a taxi. It's probably going to be a little bit more. Yes, you can take the subway for a lot less, but when you've got luggage, you really want to deal with the subway. I don't. Yes, you can do a cruise transfer afterwards, but you're only saving about $15 doing that. And if you watch Parody J, I'm sure they're going to talk about it in their videos. They had an absolute nightmare experience with the cruise transfers. So in our opinion, stick with Uber.
Yeah, they sat on the bus for like 2 hours before they realized, okay, we're not going anywhere. Let's go because we have a plane to catch anyway. That was a nightmare scenario for them.
Yep. So overall, Manhattan is beautiful. The city of New York is awesome, but it's expensive. So just be prepared for that. If you're planning on cruising on Venezia, you need to budget in transportation and hotel.
Yeah, some extra costs there you probably don't want to incur before you get on the ship, right? Once you get there, $100 later, it was, it looks exactly like the Vista on the outside. It's identical to the Vista, except it's got like an Italian flair, Venetian flair. It's very beautiful and it's very similar but very different.
So if you look at the actual deck plans, it's a lot like the Vista class on Carnival. So as far as what's on what deck is going to be very similar. But the main difference that we saw was the pool deck.
The Lido was completely different. It looked like a
village, almost.
Like a little village courtyard area. Yeah, it was really cool. Had really gnarly seating up there. But it was not like your traditional giant, big, huge pool deck that you're used to on those Carnival ships. I missed that. But I did like the difference too at the same time. But I didn't find myself spending any time there really. I would just walk through and look at it and go, oh wow, this is nice. but I never really felt invited to just sit down and hang in it.
Yeah.
I was more drawn to the aft pool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
still cool, but kind of missed the traditional Lido deck as well.
Yeah. And also for sail away, I mean, typically sail away is held at the midship Lido pool.
Right.
It couldn't be done there because it's such a small space, so it had to be done on aft, which I think worked out just fine.
It worked out fine. It's a smaller area, so it was congested. There was some things that the Fun Squad, what they would normally do, they weren't able to do because it's just the space is confined. But it was beautiful to be on the back of the ship, and you could really see the horizon of the city as you sail away, and it was magnificent. So the views, in my opinion, were better. And I kind of liked it. It was just something different.
Yeah.
But some people didn't like it so much because it felt like it was a little bit too, tight.
Yeah, I think every one of these ships that we get on, you're going to find places that you like, places that you don't like, things that work and things that don't. And for us, I think that's just the main difference in this ship is the Lido deck. It just felt so foreign to what we're used to with Carnival, where a lot of the rest of the ship felt the same.
I will say it had great flow, though.
Yeah.
That ship breathed. You had wonderful flow on that ship. It didn't feel choppy at all. Which I like. I'm not a big fan of the choppy feeling ships, It's like a maze walking around through there.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, as far as the midship area goes, we didn't spend a lot of time on deck 10, which was the actual Lido, but deck 11, on the other hand, that's where all the comfortable seating was. You could just sit there and have views out of the ocean, or you could look down into the Lido pool area. And there was the pergola bar up there that most people seem to forget about. Mm-hmm. So if you were thirsty and wanted something to drink, you could usually go up there and get a drink a lot quicker.
Now the secret's out, so now the line's going to get longer. So
well,
it's all your fault.
Sorry.
But yeah, that was a beautiful area. That bar was much quieter. You could get a drink there pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So I would walk all the way from the aft pool to that area to get a drink, and it was much faster and well worth the walk. Which wasn't too far. And that's where the Jumbotron, they had the big Jumbotron screen. And I like that they played movies pretty much. Anytime we'd walk through there, they'd have cartoons on for the kids or some kind of movie, which I like. I wish they would do that more, utilize the Jumbotrons more on these other ships. Because usually they just have one little thing and they're not really playing anything on it. I'm like, utilize it. Carnival did.
Yeah, there was movies in the afternoon, movies at night. They had the popcorn that you could purchase right there if you wanted to for the evening movies. And so what I liked is that the pool stays open too. So the kids that want to swim and watch the movie can do that, where some cruise lines will shut down the pool to show the movie, which never makes any sense to me. The pools seemed
like they were open late.
They were. The pools were open late.
I didn't clock it and see what time, but I know it was 9, 10 o'clock. Those pools were still open, I want to say. It was dark.
Yeah. Now I'm going to switch to one little negative about the pools. The pools are small.
Yeah.
Very small.
Pools are small.
Pools are small. The hot tubs are small. And for the amount of people on the ship.
Small, that could vary. It's not tiny, but it's not as big as you're used to on those Lido decks. I would say it's not small. I'd say it's more medium, schmedium.
Schmedium?
Just saying. But I felt like it wasn't too small.
They did utilize that midship area for the white party. We didn't go to it, but we just kind of walked through one night, and they did have the white party in that area. So not as many people are going to attend the white party as the sail away, so they were able to have it there.
Yeah, so the deck above, where all the seating was, and you could look down at the pool, they had lots of cool stuff for the games. They had the foosball, a couple of tables. They had some kind of
That's bocce ball.
Bocce ball. Okay, they had bocce ball. They had
ping pong.
Table tennis, ping pong. And it was really open. Again, it flowed really well.
That was cool.
I liked that.
I loved. Like I said, deck 10 we didn't spend a lot of time on. Deck 11 we did.
Yeah,
I liked that.
Plenty of loungers for everybody. They had loungers everywhere you turned, which I like. That was nice. Everybody had a place to lay down or sit and chill.
Yeah, you might not be able to get right by the pool, but you're going to find a sun lounger. They have them spread out. One more quick note about that midship pool area. That is where Guy's Burger Joint is and Tomodoro. And during lunch, you would have lines. And the lines could get kind of long and like crisscrossing around. So that area could feel congested around lunchtime.
Yeah, that didn't flow so well at lunchtime. I noticed that in general. There was a lot of lines. Of course, it's peak season. Kids are out of school, and it's a 4-dayer. And y'all, this was a booze cruise. You know, those 4-dayers, that's kind of like a booze cruise. So it was families getting a quickie. And they were having fun, let me just tell you. And the kids were going crazy. They were having fun, and the lines were long. But we're going to get into all that.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about Guy's Burger Joint and Tomodoro, let's kind of cross into food. Overall, food, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the overall ship?
You know, I didn't even get a Guy's Burger.
I did. Yeah, you did. I brought you one without a bun.
Oh, that's not the same. I don't count that. Okay, the food overall, going from here to here, I'm going to go... boom. Probably in the middle for cruise food, maybe a little down, and I'm being a little generous. I felt like nothing's really changed. Carnival food just isn't my favorite to me. It's probably the worst food you can get at sea right now. Love Carnival ship. I'll still cruise them. It gets the job done, but the food's just okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give a couple of positives.
It's no secret there, really.
No, it's not. I'm going to give a couple of positives. Il Viaggio was delicious. That's the new Italian restaurant that's been developed just for this ship, but it's pricey. It's $42 a person for the meal there. It was very good, though. I enjoyed that. Bonsai Sushi was good, consistent across all of Carnival ships.
Definitely.
But again, these are specialty dining, paying a little extra for those.
Right. Bonsai Sushi is always fun. Yeah. It's always delicious.
Guy's Burger, I had a traditional burger, and then I had one of the specialty burgers. Unfortunately, when I went to get the traditional burger, I think they'd maybe been sitting there a little long, so my bottom bun was very, like, greasy, soggy. Still, you know, edible, whatever, but...
Greasy bottom buns, y'all.
But I did try one of the specialty burgers that was called a pepperoni pizza burger that was surprisingly good. So they took the traditional bun, but instead of cheddar cheese, had melted mozzarella, then put some pepperoni, pizza sauce, strips of crispy pepperoni, and then this slab.
It's basically like a fried slab of cheese, mozzarella cheese. So imagine like 6 mozzarella sticks in a row, like a brick of them. And one little bite stacked on your burger. That's what it was. And I took a bite.
It was good.
It was so good.
Yeah,
that was really good.
That was really good. And then they topped it with donkey sauce. I can give that burger 2 thumbs up.
And be honest with you, the little pizzeria on the back, you know, when everything else is shut off, and it's time to eat before you go to bed, that pizza's really not that bad. And they were turning them out.
Oh, they were.
And you can get whole pies if you want. So I've got nothing but love for those guys back there.
Oh, they worked their
It's not the best
at
pizza at sea by far, especially us just getting off MSC. That pizza was the best. So no comparison there, but I'm telling you what, it's good pizza though.
It is. I mean, we always enjoy it.
It had the right amount of sauce and, you know, never enough cheese, but I thought it was pretty good. Folded up, made it like a little pizza taco.
Yep. As far as the misses go, the buffet is a miss for the most part. Yeah. You know, you'll get a couple of things that are decent, but for the most part, you take a bite and you're like, no. And you take a bite and you're like, no.
They just don't pick good things to serve. Like the selections are just, Like, why are you cooking that when there's so many other better things that you could put out on a buffet for people to eat, you know? So yeah, I always felt like their selections or their choices to what kind of food to serve people were just silly. I didn't like it.
And we did not try the main dining room. We just having a 4-day cruise, you know, we wanted to kind of be up and about and around, and didn't want to. We're not big main dining room people. I mean, you don't see us in the main dining room very often.
Well, it takes forever. You know, no secret there. 2 hours later. you're tired, you're sleepy, and you're ready to go to bed. Some people love to sit there for that long. We just do not. So we don't ever really try them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah, usually once a cruise we'll go in there, but for a 4-day, we're just like,
not this time.
But we did walk into the main dining room, the Canal Grande. It has an entire gondola in there. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
The ship is gorgeous. Every inch of that ship is gorgeous.
Yeah, you feel like you're in a little village there as well. You look up and it's got the little arches everywhere with the seating up there looking down at the gondola. And so you feel like you're in a village at night in that area. And it's really beautiful. The decor is good.
Next up, let's talk about the fun factor, because Carnival is the fun ship. So I'm going to let Jason take this one.
Well, it's a fun ship. There's plenty of entertainment everywhere you go. I mean, that's no secret. The shows were better than I remember them before. I felt the shows were great. It was, what was the name of the... In color, something in color.
We saw Color My World.
Color My World. That was really good. And we saw bits and pieces of the other one.
The Vintage Pop, we popped into it, saw a little bit of it, but it was late in the evening and we wanted some pizza, so we just watched about 15 minutes of that show. But both shows were very well done.
Yeah, I thought it was a major improvement there. And I felt like the entertainment around the ship, I think it was in the gondola plaza. I always call it the ocean view. Well, whatever. It's like on deck 5. It's got the revolving door that goes out to the promenade. That area always had something going on, whether it was trivia or bands. And I love that about Carnival ships. I feel like there's always something going on, and you're more entertained on a Carnival ship than any other ship. I find that I get less bored.
Yeah, and the cruise director and the fun squad are always out doing things. I know they, put on their show at the sail away party, and I thought the sail away party could have been a little bit longer, because they came out, they did their thing, and it only lasted maybe 20 minutes. And I was like, well, where did everybody go? Yeah. But other than that, I think they really were there. They were, putting out a lot of energy throughout the cruise.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, also, the comedy show was crazy. I don't even remember the guy's name, but he was so funny. But
we were crying laughing.
He was hilarious. But there were a couple of moments where I kind of cringed a little bit, like, ooh, that could really offend somebody. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought was even made it more funny.
Yeah.
But it was one of those, and people were outside waiting for the next show, lining up, because this guy was really good. So that was excellent. Karaoke was fun. They had it in the Havana Cabana area, which is a really nice area. I enjoyed spending time there, and
it's called something Italian on this ship, but you know what I'm talking about.
That was fun. That was a good time. It was very engaging. It packed out every time they had it, and it was a lot of fun. One of the most fun karaoke sessions I've ever attended.
And they did karaoke for like 2 hours every single day.
Yeah, we enjoyed it so much we went back for a second time. It was really fun. So check that out if you get on the Venezia, as well as the comedy show. Those are really good.
Yeah, and for low-key entertainment in the atrium, they always had the strings. There was like a trio that played the strings.
That's right, up on the balcony. That's right. And they were pretty cool. They had a selection of hits that they would play. You know? And that was neat.
And I think they had a solo guitarist too, which was, that one was a little off, but I enjoyed the strings people.
Yeah, they had, a guitar player and a little gal playing the cello. That wasn't my cup of tea. I felt like it was kind of got boring there, but teach their own.
Yep. But needless to say, there's entertainment all over the ship. There was live music. As you walked through the ship, you would hear or find live music everywhere, and always something going on.
Yep, always. Yep, you'll have plenty of fun compared to a lot of other cruises we've been on. We go on a lot. I never got bored.
Okay, let's talk about space on the ship. First off, let me say, this ship was beyond capacity. So capacity is figured at double occupancy. So that means 2 people in a cabin. 2 people in a cabin on this ship would be around 4,000 passengers. There were 4,600 passengers on this ship.
And you felt it.
To say it was full is an understatement, okay? So there were definitely areas of the ship, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit, that felt crowded. So the main pool area always felt crowded. Serenity, you tried to go up there and get...
Unless you're one of those that get up, crack of dawn, go up there and stake your claim and lay your towels down, you're not going to get a seat because people get up there and they plant and they don't move.
Mm-hmm.
And they save chairs for people and all that stuff. You know how that goes. It's frustrating. I never get up that early and go try to grab a lounger because we're always just running about or whatnot. But yeah, that was busy. That's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. So right around the pools or right around Serenity, you are going to have a lot of congestion.
Yeah, same old, same old. If you don't get up really early, it's going to be hard to find a place around the pool decks.
Yeah. But on the flip side of that, I felt like in the evenings when you've got dinner going on, shows going on, entertainment, everyone felt more spread out. I never felt crowded and congested in the evenings.
No.
And we found that there are areas out on deck 5 that, like, I guess people were forgetting about deck 5. And we went out there and found these great padded loungers. And we sat out there like for hours one afternoon, just with a view of the ocean. It was quiet out there. You could go right inside and get something to eat or drink if you wanted.
That was nice.
But it was really, really nice outside.
Yeah, you know how you always find your little area that you like and you kind of dwell in. That was ours.
Yep.
Nice and quiet, peaceful, had a great view of the water. It was nice. But it was really crowded.
Yeah.
So that was one way we escaped. We found us a little hole and hung out there. It was nice and quiet because, y'all, it took a while to get a beer at the bar. I mean, you really got to work it and know how to flash those cards. Luckily for me, I got some experience. It was taking people a lot of time to get a drink, and people were complaining about it. All in all, though, I felt like everybody kind of got along. They had a couple of outbursts. There was a couple of people that took it a little bit too far that you don't normally see.
Yeah, there was a couple at guest services that were screaming at each other, and the husband said, "I'm gonna jump off this effing boat," and security comes over, and I'm like...
One day I was walking around on the Lido deck, and I saw a canine unit walking about the ship with a dog, sniffing for pot, drugs, whatever. I've never seen that before.
No.
So I didn't see anybody get arrested. I didn't hear about anybody getting arrested.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, let me get a video of that. I literally ran up on him. The dog looks at me and I backed off a little bit. I'm like, shh. But I didn't personally see anything. But, here's what I was going to say about that. The alcohol is more dangerous
It is.
than the pot, you guys. It just is. I mean, I don't care what you say. It's a fact.
I don't think I've ever seen a couple of potheads get in a fist fight.
Hey, man, let's jump off the ship. See if we can float. No, they ain't going to do quite the opposite. Anyway, that was crazy.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen that. That was very interesting, and it, kind of brought the intensity level up on the cruise.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, because we talked to a lot of people, and I think it kind of made a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling knowing that there were drug dogs on board and, smelling the pot. And you're like, well, why is it just Carnival? Why is it, and I mean, nothing against Carnival. We love Carnival, but it seems like this stuff only seems to happen on Carnival ships, and we're not sure why.
Yeah. Anyway.
But back to some positivity. Overall, would you sail this ship again? Would you recommend this ship to others?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. Why not? Of course. I enjoyed the ship. Like I said, I thought it was fun. I had a great time on the ship. Pot smokers don't bother me. If they bother you, then probably don't sail on that ship. A lot of drinking going on. I don't mind having me a couple of beers, and I can handle myself, so it doesn't bother me. Doesn't really bother Elisa.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to handle ourselves around it. If you see some issues or some fights breaking out, simply get away and contact the authorities immediately. You know, find somebody, a crew member, staff member, and alert security, and you know, help address the situation. That's all you can do. Unfortunately, some of these people, they overindulge, and it starts out innocently, and they want to just have a good time, and it gets out of hand. And you know, I hate when that happens, because I know that person's gonna really regret that and feel very embarrassed the next day. So
yeah,
I don't know. I got a little empathy for them, you know.
And what we saw was just I know we're talking about it a lot, but it really was a very small portion of our cruise. Yeah. So most of the time, everyone was behaving, everything felt good. Right. The ship was beautiful. We loved the ship itself. The
thing I hated the most, and I mean, that's a strong word, I know, hate, but I did hate it, was the lines for the food.
Yeah, that was bad.
We have not experienced that in quite some time. And that just is not fun. So that was probably the worst part of it. Yep, for sure. But all in all, I had a wonderful time. Felt good being back on a Carnival ship. Matter of fact, we said we got to book another one pretty soon because we had so much fun.
Yeah, we did. And we've got Jubilee booked for later this year. So looking forward to another new Carnival ship. And we might jump on one sometime between now and then too.
That's right. So you never know. Never know. Always booking and always figuring out what we're going to do. And Carnival's definitely on the list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a wrap for our review.
Should we cover everything?
I think so. Do you have any final thoughts?
We never can cover everything that we say we're going to cover. We never do. We always forget stuff. But oh well.
Any final thoughts?
No, not right now. All my thoughts have left me.
Or we've expressed all of our thoughts.
Yes, I've bled them out. I can't think of anything that I need to say right now.
Okay. Well, leave a comment down below if you are planning on sailing on Venezia or if you've actually already been on one of the first sailings.
Yeah.
Let us know what you thought about the ship.
Yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously, and we definitely appreciate you. Thank you guys, and we will see you next time.
Happy cruising.
Happy cruising.
Bye.